Hi, welcome to the Tail Trail. I'm your host, Sharon, also go by Sharose49 online, and this is my little brother, Lyndon.
How's it going?
On this podcast, we talk about stories. Stories in any form are welcome here. How's that for a new intro? A little more streamlined than before?
I think so.
Alright, well, we're back at we're still talking about Trigun. Part 2. We're at part 2 for the Trigun episode.
Part 2.5 or something you said or something.
I wrote,
1.5.
2.5 because this is like episode 2, but then like it's the second half of episode 2. Alright, where did we actually leave off?
It was all over the place last time, so.
We were talking about Legato and Wolfwood in particular.
I think that's where we left off, those two characters.
Yeah, so regarding Wolfwood, I think we were talking about how he's your favorite character. And we were talking about his death and why he's so different in the original. But I didn't fully get into how different he is in Stampede other than having a very different personality and a different worldview. But I wrote a note here that says, go back to Wolfwood briefly to discuss the significance of his cross weapon, which ironically does represent mercy in the end. So, we mentioned that Trigun is full of cross imagery, right? The main cross, though, is Wolfwood's weapon called the Punisher, which it looks like a giant cross. And
Such a cool weapon.
Yeah. Well, he keeps it all wrapped up. And a joke in the old one is that whenever he, hands it to someone, they're, surprised at how heavy it is because they think it's just, for show because he's a priest. And they're like, this is so heavy. What's in it?
That's because it's so full of mercy.
And that's what Wolfwood always responds. He says, that, my friend, is because it's so full of mercy. But we know in actuality it's full of lead and missiles and other weapons, literally. It's like a rocket launcher.
It's like his to-go bag of, warfare.
Yeah. It's like a rocket launcher in itself and a machine gun. And then he has, smaller pistols inside it as well. At least in the old one, he, pulls some, regular pistols out of it and, hands them out, I think. I can't remember. I know that was when he was like, bang, 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 bang. But it's funny because I feel like in the end it kind of is full of mercy because when he dies, we said that scene was really iconic, but we kind of forgot to say why. He sort of drags himself to a church while he's bleeding out and is asking for forgiveness and thinking about his life and the people he cares about and how if he could do it over again, he would have liked to do everything differently. And smokes one last cigarette.
My favorite scene.
He dies holding on to that cross, clinging to it and leaning against it. And I like to think that he was shown mercy in the end. Mm-hmm. In that scene, the cross isn't really a weapon anymore. The cross is a place of refuge, which I really love. And then after that, Millie takes Wolfwood's cross and gives it to Vash, which he uses in the final fight to actually defeat Knives. So it's sort of like Wolfwood kind of lives on through that cross. Vash even hears Wolfwood telling him what to do, kind of imagining what he would say in that situation.
Vash is just going crazy, that's all.
And it's really beautiful. I just wanted to mention the significance of that cross. I thought it was really cool. It sort of represents Wolfwood, it represents mercy, and it is a weapon, but it's a lot more than that, and I like it a lot. Oh, I have one other note about Wolfwood. He is an important character. One last notable difference in Stampede's Wolfwood is Wolfwood's completely different backstory. There is no Chapel. Chapel was his mentor in the old one, that really freaky looking guy.
Chapel.
Who was
Chapel, and he's always holding an apple.
No, is chapel as in a little church.
I know.
Oh, because he's always holding an apple?
Yes.
Well, the apple was this weird shtick he had, but then he was teleporting himself in different coffins, which I think is the most vampire-coded ability.
It's one of the most silly abilities I've ever seen in a TV show, and it made me laugh when he first did it. I was like, bro, what is this? I
definitely laughed, but it makes me think, is he a vampire or what?
Maybe.
I don't know why he would have that ability otherwise. It's just so weird. So in the new one, though, Wolfwood doesn't buy his own orphanage. He doesn't really have, his own orphanage that he starts. He is from an orphanage. And
then he just has a thing for orphanages.
No, he wants to take care of that specific orphanage because those people are his family, but the Eye of Michael is this super messed up cult. They act like it's a church. But if that's a church, then I'm a monkey's uncle because that's that's the most diabolical evil organization ever. Mm-hmm. They take Wolfwood when he's a kid and another one of the boys, Livio, and they experiment on them, and the experiments make them grow into adults really quickly. So I think technically Livio and Wolfwood are like 12 years old, but they're walking around as adults now. So I don't know if they're supposed to be like have the maturity of kids, because they don't seem like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very weird and messed up. Another difference that is actually, I think, a really nice one in Stampede is that Wolfwood and Livio are brothers. Not literally, but they love each other like brothers, and Livio becomes Livio the Double Fang, who has like these two mini Punisher crosses, and Wolfwood tries to get through to him, but he's like this robot, like he doesn't act like a human anymore. And then Wolfwood is able to get him to remember because of how close they were, but remembering everything just makes him lose it even more because of how horrible everything was. So he kind of like tries to off himself, but of course it doesn't work because Livio has regeneration abilities like that are even more refined than Wolfwood's. So of course that wasn't going to work, and the bad guys pick him up again. And Livio has a split personality. What do you call it? Like DID?
I think so, something like that.
Dissociate identity disorder, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So when Livio dissociates, he becomes Razlo, who is like this really psychotic... Razlo the Tri-Punisher. So instead of 2 Punishers, he's got 3, and he's got a third arm growing out of his back, which is mega gross. So Livio is a character who is in the manga, but he's not in the original anime, but he is in Stampede and Stargaze. And I do really like the lengths that Wolfwood goes to rescue Livio/Razlo, to the point of him almost dying, just to get through to him in the vain hope that his brother will come back to his senses. There's this really cool scene. This is only in Stargaze. Well, actually, it's in the manga too, where it's a really good character design for one thing. Half of Livio's face is like tattooed or something. When he goes crazy and he's Razlo, he's got like really spiky hair on the one side too.
He looks like he's part of some kind of band or something.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's part of some edgy band, like a weird like Kiss band or something. But Livio, it's like Livio suddenly takes control of himself for the first time. Livio's voice starts talking to Razlo, even though they're the same person. And when Livio is talking, we go to the one side of his face that's like clean, that doesn't have the tattoo. And then when Razlo is talking back in the different sort of voice, we go to that tattooed side and back and forth. So it's like a conversation between 2 people,
it's
even
like
though
and
it is. It's a lot like that Gollum scene actually, and I like that scene because he's like, "You've taken care of me. Like you, it's because of you that I survived, but I don't need you anymore." And he's like, "What are you doing? You need me, stop!" And he's like, "No, like it's time to decommission you. Like I'm going to take control of my life now."
Wow, that's a lot like
Gollum. That is a lot like Gollum. I did not think of that. I was actually thinking of I want to say it was one of the Band of 7 in Inuyasha who had the idea as well, who was like a really kind doctor or a killer, and that was really sad because he is both. But yeah, I don't know if I just like characters with DID, but I thought that was kind of a fascinating scene. It was just well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Livio and Wolfwood as brothers. I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of tenderness in that edgy.
That edgy version of Wolfwood, yes.
Yeah.
One of my biggest complaints about Stampede is next on the list, Meryl and Millie. So why don't you start, Lyndon? Like, why are they so different in the new one? Like, what or what was so good about them in the old one?
They were heavily involved in the original TV show, just much more present, like directly involved with the plot, and just much more interesting characters, and obviously more funny, in my opinion.
They were super funny, and minor detail, I way prefer their designs.
Yeah, no, I would say I prefer their designs.
I don't know what they're wearing in the new one, especially Meryl, like, I mean, it's not bad. It's like a cute outfit, but it's like it's too cute. Like a beret and like shorts over leggings or something.
She almost seems,
and like chucks, or I don't know what she's wearing on her feet.
I don't know what she's going for there, but
it's cute, but it doesn't look like Meryl at all. And maybe part of that is because the new one is not as much of a Western as the old one.
Yeah, which is something actually I didn't really like about the new one, is that it didn't feel as much like a Western.
it leans heavy into the sci-fi, and it is a sci-fi. It's a space western, but it's way less of a western. Meryl in particular looks a lot younger. I feel like they were starting to build up to Meryl being more mature and more independent in Stampede after Roberto dies, and she's going to take Millie on as like a new trainee. But in Stampede, I feel like Millie and Meryl are totally, not in Stampede, sorry, in Stargaze, Millie and Meryl are totally, they're even more sidelined.
Way more sidelined.
Than they were in Stampede, and Millie isn't even in Stampede.
It's like,
but
let's make you not really control the plot here a little bit and just like...
Well, not even close. Like, they could have been written out, I think, in Stargaze anyway.
A lot. I mean, however, in Stampede, what's your name again?
Meryl.
Meryl, she does, like, help Trigun get out of that, like...
Did you just
plant.
call Vash Trigun?
Oh my goodness.
In
my head, when I think of Vash, like, it's Trigun, you know?
Yeah, well,
my bad.
Vash is Trigun, I guess, because he's got the 3 guns, technically.
That's right.
I think, even though I thought it was because of the crosses, because, like, a cross has, like, 3 points, but Trigun is technically called Trigun because Vash has a gun, and then he has a gun in his arm, and then he has the angel arm. So 3 guns. If the angel arm counts as a gun, although it does look like a cannon in Stampede.
It's a gun of sorts, but...
Kind of.
But where was I getting at? Yeah, and then Vash...
Meryl saves Vash.
Yeah, Vash snaps out of it.
If Meryl didn't save Vash at the end of Stampede, then the world would be doomed.
Yeah,
so we owe Meryl a lot for that. Someone pointed out to me that scene is a little bit like Mary finding Jesus in the tomb. But you could say that. I think there might be a little bit more of a reach. But I appreciate that Meryl didn't back down ever in Stampede. But she already had that personality in the old one. I think she's still really brave and has that personality in Stargaze. But like the plot doesn't really know what to do with her. I'm not quite sure what the problem is. But Meryl and Millie are in very few fights. It's like they're always present, but they don't have much to do. And... they're journalists instead of insurance agents, and I think that's much less funny, to be honest, because I thought it was really funny that they're insurance agents who are chasing Vash around because he's a liability.
We're here to talk about your car's extended warranty.
They don't usually talk about insurance. Well, sometimes they do. They're, like, talking about,
a little bit. At the beginning, they're like, yeah.
In that one movie, they really talk about insurance of that one statue. But... yeah, like, they are actually insurance agents, and I think, even though it's silly, it's way funnier. Obviously, they go above and beyond as insurance agents. I don't know.
Did you just say funnier?
Yeah. It's more funny, okay? But I don't know of any insurance company that would, like, send agents to, like, monitor a situation 24/7 because of how bad that particular area is or something. Like, in the old show, Meryl and Millie are sent to find Vash the Stampede and, like, work with him to sort of get him to stop being so dangerous because he's, like, I think...
which they absolutely fail at, I'm sorry.
Well, that ends up not being the point in the end because then they're invested and they actually care about
well,
Vash.
I'm just saying they suck at their job, alright?
Actually, I'd say they're very good at their job in that they're the only ones willing to put their necks on the line.
That's true.
And when they go back to the office, everyone's like, why do you even do that? Like, why does it matter? That's, like, so stupid. And I'm like, well, they've got to do it.
I know. They've got the guts.
So they're kind of, like, better than all of you, even though maybe they have less numbers to show. I guess you're right, but they're brave. You gotta give them that.
That's what matters.
They're committed, and maybe they kind of use that as a cover because they actually care about Vash. But...
and let me tell you, the taller lady.
Millie.
Yeah, Millie, she can fling some... what do you call it? She can fling some metal, I'll say that. She can sling that Gatling.
Millie is so precious. She is the giantess of this show, and she might just be taller than everyone.
It's crazy. She's so tall in the original.
She gives off such, like, homeschooler, farm girl vibes, and apparently she has a very big family. I think they are farmers. So she's, like, very sweet and naive. She doesn't carry lethal weapons like Meryl does. By the way, in Stampede... Meryl only uses a tiny gun, like, once. And then Millie, I think Millie does use her stun gun at some points in the new one, but not very much. And she doesn't have that big dress that she hides it under, which was really funny.
It's like a trench coat thing, yeah.
Yeah,
like
that big trench coat, which also just makes her look bigger. But she's already big, very broad-shouldered. But Meryl had, like, her white coat, when she opens it, it's like, you know how a drug dealer's got, like,
I
His
know,
whole coat
yeah.
lined with goods.
She's
Her
got
whole coat is lined with derringers.
like derringers just like
And
lined
she's
up.
nicknamed Derringer Meryl because of this, and Millie is Stun Gun Millie.
Really?
Those nicknames never come up in the new one. Again, because
Ah,
like Meryl and Millie don't really matter that much in the new one, which I hate because they're so awesome. They have so much personality, I think. Because, like,
absolutely.
what other shows do you see characters like Meryl and Millie who are just storming around and taking charge of the situation? And, like, it's like they have no business being there, and yet they still command a situation. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what you want to call it, but there are so many people around them who are, like, not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the old one, when
Heck, sometimes I say they're doing more than Wolfwood.
they
Sometimes
are.
it's
They
crazy.
absolutely are.
Well, Wolf was just procrastinating a lot during the
Wolfwood
episodes. He's just like,
Wolfwood has issues. Sometimes he's doing stuff, sometimes he isn't. He doesn't really want to. I feel like these girls kick our boys into gear quite a bit, including Vash. Even Vash sometimes
mm-hmm.
could be more involved than he is. Yeah, Meryl is a lot tougher in the old one because she's called Derringer Meryl. She uses her guns. For example, this one scene in the old one where the whole town has gone berserk because they're trying to kill Vash to get the bounty. And it's completely disorganized to the point that the mayor even hired criminals without thinking about how much damage they would do to the town.
Mm-hmm. That part was hilarious.
It's absolute chaos, and the mayor is just like, "Oh no, I didn't think this through. This
The
is
mayor
horrible."
is so funny. He's hilarious.
And then Meryl comes and takes a megaphone. She's like, "I need to speak to the man in charge," and they're like, "We're a little busy now," and she's puts a megaphone in his face. Like, I will speak to the man in charge. Doesn't she basically, like, kind of fix that situation? Or she at least...
Basically,
she
she's
at
just
least
so
berates the mayor.
enraged that she was
She
just
berates
like,
the
fix
mayor
this.
for his lack of foresight. Like, you didn't think something bad would happen?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, at the time, it really seemed like a good idea. That whole episode is so chaotic. I recommend that one. I forget which episode is that. Episode 5?
Yeah, I feel like it's somewhere...
That's episode 5
near
because
the
the
beginning?
Nebraska family are in it.
mm-hmm.
I think it's
They're
episode
funny.
5. And there's this running gag with Millie and her stun gun. She keeps it under her skirt so that people don't know that she's armed. And then when they go to like bars and stuff, some of the men are like being kind of inappropriate. And Millie doesn't really care, but then the strap of her stun gun breaks and then it falls on the toe of one of the guys. So she,
I
like,
remember that.
unintentionally like makes them back off, but then it's even worse, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, this stupid sling is always breaking," and then she picks it up with one arm. She picks this massive Gatler up with one arm in front of all these guys, and then they back off because they're like thinking that she's actually
like on
just
steroids
pretending
or
to be naive and she's actually gonna get them, but they're also like, how is she this strong? And she was never gonna hurt anybody. She's just like, oh, silly me, like, and actually means it because she doesn't really want to hurt anyone unless they're actually trying to kill you. And yeah, I really like Meryl and how she never gives up on Vash. It's kind of in both versions, but particularly in the old version. She always goes after him, including when he tells them not to get involved with him ever again, essentially because he doesn't want them to get hurt. But she sees that he's like gonna maybe go past the deep end or something.
Mm-hmm.
And even Millie is like, if you don't see him ever again, or if you don't follow him now, there's a good chance you won't see him ever again. And and they both are like committed at this point. It's like it's no longer their job anymore. They're like, we started this thing and we're in it.
Yeah, and we're gonna finish it.
We're in it till the end, and I know Vash is very grateful at the end, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, one other thing. Meryl kind of becomes Rem at 2 points. Once in Stampede and once in the original. So Rem being Vash's mother figure who taught him not to take human life.
Mm-hmm.
After Vash kills Legato in the old one, Meryl is trying to comfort him, but he won't listen. But then some townspeople like drag Vash out. I don't remember. Well, it was for one of the typical reasons, like this guy is responsible for destroying this town, which is kind of true. And they're like, we need to kill him before he does anything else. And she's like, but he hasn't done anything to you. He's just trying to recover. Like, why are you doing this? Please, just leave him alone. But she actually, realizing how important that, realizing how important that ideology was to Vash, or maybe not ideology, but that message that Rem taught him, she realizes how important it is, and that it doesn't matter how logical it is to kill someone. In his eyes, he still sinned. So she sort of takes up the mantle of being Rem for Vash in that scenario, and she goes to everyone and says, no one has the right to take a life of another. And she kind of spreads her arms and tries to like peacefully resolve everything. And she kind of freaks everyone out to the point where she's able to take their guns away. And Vash sees Rem when she's doing this, and after that he realizes that even though he made a mistake, or in his eyes he made a mistake, that he can still change, because Rem also taught him that people have the ability to change. And he can go back to trying to be that person again. And Meryl's the one who showed him that, so he's kind of like losing it, but hugging her too hard and stuff. And he's maybe a little bit delirious on that part of it. And then in Stampede, when Knives has Vash in that tank and he's like extracting his memories and like I can't remember exactly what he was doing, because he was using Vash's power to like make all the plants independent plants or something. And so he was like messing with Vash's memories and stuff. And Vash was starting to turn
near my brain.
No, Vash was starting to turn into what looked like a carbon statue or something. But Meryl comes and she's like shooting the tank.
The bulletproof glass.
and like screaming at him to remember and to wake up. And
no, you know what? I just realized Vash woke up because of how annoyed he was of her voice.
No. No, actually, he didn't even know it was Meryl. In his mind, it was Rem talking to him. But we know it was Meryl. And then when he wakes up, he's like, "Thank you. You saved me." So there was a couple of points where Meryl is very significant in particular in bringing him back from the brink or reminding him of who he is. And that's really important, but they don't really have any room for Meryl, very little room for Meryl in the new one. If they do in the last 2 episodes, that remains to be seen, because those are the only episodes I haven't quite seen yet. But yeah, I still think it's too late for them to totally redeem that.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Meryl and Millie were really sidelined in favor of very plot-heavy, complicated sci-fi stuff and a bunch of other characters. And there are way less characters in the old one, so I think that's why Meryl and Millie were so prominent. But I prefer that. But I could go on and on.
Yeah.
It's all right. Basically what I'm saying is Meryl and Millie... Oh, well, here's another reason why Meryl and Millie are so good. Meryl and Millie are really funny in the old one, and their dynamic combined with Vash and Wolfwood is super funny and really endearing, and kind of part of why...
chemistry.
It's part of why you get attached to the show, but that chemistry isn't really there in the new one, because Meryl doesn't talk to Vash, isn't around Vash nearly as much. Maybe in the first part of Stampede she is, but not in the later seasons. And Stampede as a whole, the tone is just not very funny most of the time.
Yeah, it's more edgy, dark,
and serious.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it often can be too heavy.
I think you were saying it's kind of a trend for when they do like modern remakes of something to make it more edgy and serious.
Yeah, common trait these days.
And I'm not a huge fan of that either. I think it's okay for things to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, because that doesn't mean it's not serious. The original Trigun is still very serious. It's just
Let me tell you something. Later on in the TV show, it gets serious.
Yeah, but it's also lighthearted and funny at a lot of moments, and it has time to breathe. The pacing isn't so breakneck fast. Now, granted, the pacing is probably too slow on the old one at first, but yeah, I think there is a happy medium where you can have both, where it doesn't have to be like things nonstop happening or things are always like super serious. I think people can still take it seriously if it's funny too.
Absolutely.
All right, where are we here? Discuss why Vash and Knives turned out so differently despite being raised in the same environment. I had a theory about that, but what do you think, Lyndon?
Why you mean why they have such different viewpoints when they were raised?
They were pretty much raised in the same environment. Raised by the same person.
Again, it has to do with obviously individual minds. They take things differently, but I would say that Knives sees it as what they're doing to the plants, and but he considers the plants their family, like siblings. So when he sees them doing this, raised up in that environment, he more or less develops this sense of rage. Well, I mean, not necessarily rage, like frustration against humans, and it sort of boils up into this hatred eventually, which I guess kind of roughly sums up his thing. And he reads a lot of Bible, and then he quotes it. gets me upset.
He reads all the worst parts of the Bible.
Yeah.
And ignores all the better parts, like the parts that are about peace and love and the I don't know, fruits of the spirit or something. And he's just, we were watching episode 11 of Stampede today, and he was just spewing like Bible reference after Bible reference after Bible reference, but it was all like horrible stuff like Armageddon or like Lot's wife.
I know, it's like, where'd you pull
Lot's
that
wife
out of?
into this? Why? And it's like, those are really, I don't want to say they're really obscure, but they're more obscure parts of the Bible. But instead of the parts that everyone else talks about, he's like, let's talk about genocide and floods and, I don't know, divine destruction. It's just like, is that the only part you read? But I don't know. I guess he had a fascination with those.
Yeah. And then, like, that's him. And then Vash, he tries to see the good in most of the stuff they were raised in. He's more happy about stuff, more outgoing, it seems. And obviously he has a closer relationship with Rem, which I don't want to say that Knives was jealous of that. He just didn't quite understand it as much as Vash did.
I don't think Knives was jealous of that. I think Knives saw them as being kind of childish and cringy,
more so that way, I guess.
And he was a bit more uncomfortable with that. Like when Rem goes in to hug him, it's kind of like, stop, you know. And they totally are kids like that, and that's not bad. But it didn't help that he keeps rejecting her further when he really needs her, I think. You see that a little bit in the new one, and then in the old one as well. Like with the infamous apple scene, where Rem is cutting Vash's hair, and I can't remember why. Maybe there was like an apple tree, but there's an apple in the frame. And she makes it the iconic like standing up hairdo, and he loves it. He's so happy. But Knives is watching this, and then he goes off by himself and cuts his own haircut. He cuts his own hair, but it's really like the scene has this dark vibe, like the lighting is dark, and he's like glaring at the mirror, and he's cutting his own hair, and it's like, who cares if you cut your own hair in itself? But there's something symbolic about this haircut where he's like, I don't want Rem to cut my hair. I want to decide who I am, and it's gonna have nothing to do with her. And when Vash comes in the room, he's kind of startled because Knives has already cut his hair, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I took care of it. I think it's better this way. And they're all like, well, yeah, it does look like it suits you. But you see the apple on the ground, and it has a bite taken out of it.
A bite out of it.
So obviously that kind of calls back to Adam and Eve, when Adam and Eve decided that they were going to eat the fruit anyway. They basically went their own way, and they made a choice that they thought was good for them instead of what God said was good for them. Thus dooming all of humanity and all that jazz. But of course, Knives is the one who causes the fall of man, a la the ships crashing. There's a difference there. I have one little note to say before I go into my theory of why they're so different. Rem seems like a really good person, but who the heck names their kid Knives?
Yeah, that's actually a good question.
What kind of a name is that?
I feel like she didn't have anything to do with the name.
Did he name himself because or did someone else name him? Or who named them? Like,
yeah, that's a good question. We'll have to find a way to figure that out.
In the new one, it's kind of cringy that, like, okay, he was called Nye instead of Knives because they were like, oh, let's be more realistic and give him a real name. But then later he's like, I am power. I'm not Nye anymore. I'm millions Knives. And it's kind of like, bruh. Like, that is such a teenage emo thing to do.
Not that guy.
Then again, he might have even been a teenager at that point, but it's so cringy that they have to, like, explain it. But at the same time, in the old one, like, he was just always called Knives. Like why? Why don't you just call him, like meat cleaver or microwave or some random thing? Like,
I know, it's like
it's Knives. Almost like the name kind of, like, prophesies him being bad.
Almost, yeah.
It's sort of like, hey, note to parents who may be listening, don't name your kid Jezebel or Delilah or something, just because that can't be a good sign.
Or Melchel Hushbuzz.
What the heck is that?
Look it up, kid.
Okay, fine. Don't call me kid. I'm a decade older than you. But my theory why Vash and Knives are so different is that Vash turns his pain inward and Knives turns it outward.
That's basically what I was getting at.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, although maybe you had a more roundabout way of saying it. And you're right that it also was because Vash was much more influenced by Rem. Vash like clung to Rem and listened to everything she said. He took it to heart. Knives did not. He wasn't really sure about what Rem was saying. He was dubious of it. And it's pretty healthy to question things. But I don't think what Knives or Vash does is healthy early on.
Both ways go too far a little bit.
So I'm going to reference a part of the manga in particular because it's not this dark in any of the other versions. But you know when they find the remains of their sister Tesla?
Yep.
In the manga, they each react differently. Knives, of course, this starts his whole hatred of humanity thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he hates people for what they did. And he is absolutely
honestly
kind of valid for that. Because that's a horrific thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I think it makes him trust Rem less as well. Because she knew about this and she didn't tell them. And Vash actually tries to kill himself. That didn't happen in the new one or the old one, because Tesla isn't in the old one.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't go that far.
What's her name?
Her name is actually Tesla, and I'm sure this is long before Elon Musk.
This is Elon Musk.
This is long before any of that was a thing. And they just kept the name. So this Tesla existed before
No wonder
that
why it was torn into pieces.
Oh, please. I knew this was going to come up at some point. I just knew it. It was inevitable. Okay. But Vash turns his pain inward in that he would rather blame himself than anyone else for everything because he doesn't want to direct that pain or that anger towards anyone because he doesn't want to hurt anyone, which is beautiful, but it's horrible for him because he kind of maybe hates himself. Like in the old one too, you see like when Millie and Meryl see him without a shirt for the first time. At first it's kind of funny because like they accidentally walk out on him and it's like, we're so sorry, but his body is covered in like
scars
and he's even got these like metal stitches or something.
Yeah, literally to like cover up chunks of probably exposed flesh.
And part of that is because like Jesus, he's like, you can hurt me, you can do whatever you want, and I'll still love you, I'll still want to save you. But on the other hand, it's also like, I deserve this. In an early episode of Stampede, Vash kind of doesn't show a lot of emotion to the horrible thing that just happened in the town because Knives came to the town looking for him and he killed a bunch of people. So he turns and walks away after everything is done because he needs to go find Knives. But Meryl is like, how can you just walk away after what just happened here? And she's angry because it seems like he doesn't care.
She doesn't understand.
It seems like he doesn't care, but he just says, because I don't deserve to cry. I don't deserve to grieve. Like, all I should be able to do is stop this guy. But he doesn't deserve to, like, feel pain or feel angry. Unless it's towards himself. It's weird and it's very, very sad.
Almost seems that they both, like, when they react to seeing the sister from that point you were making, it almost seems like they react the simplest ways opposite to each other.
Exactly. It's simple and completely opposite. And both are very understandable.
Absolutely.
Both are toxic.
Yes.
Although one is like self-destructive and the other is like
destructive.
It's everyone else's problem. It's just destructive outwardly. Well, I think it probably destroys Knives' soul as well, but in a different way because he will never allow himself to be accountable. And another thing that I think makes Vash and Knives so different is that Knives is a huge hypocrite. He keeps saying that Vash is a huge hypocrite, and maybe he is in some ways, because like maybe his pacifism causes more people to die. That's the argument. But you can't say that he intends for people to die. He's always going to save people, even at very dear cost to himself. But then Knives is like, you are such a huge hypocrite, and yet he, in one sentence, he says he loves his brother, he does these things for his brother, and yet he's tormenting his brother all throughout the series and enjoying it.
Messed up.
And he even goes against his own principles because he wants to save the plants, and then he, at least in Stargaze, he uses the plants to save himself, to repair his body, and that even confuses his, like, men. Well, actually, first it was them doing it, I think. But then when he saw that they were doing it, he went even further, and they were like,
It seems
They were
like
confused.
he's losing his original morals, and then he's just
He lost his own plot.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to save the plants, but he'll also use the plants if he has to complete his goal. So again,
That
he's
sounds
like,
familiar.
humans are so horrible because they use plants to survive. It's like, well, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what you just did. So, yeah.
Hypocrite.
I would like to say, screw you, Knives, over here. I like raise my glass, and this goes out to Knives.
That's right.
Screw you. I hope you die.
Wow.
Then again, I did like how he got redeemed in the manga, but I don't know if that's gonna happen in Stargaze. I guess I will find out. But regarding Vash, there was one other moment that kind of shows this. You remember when Wolfwood killed Zazie? He went and saw Vash, and I think he expected Vash to still be angry with him. I don't think Vash ever was angry with him. But he's expecting Vash to be angry with him, and Vash just looks at him so sadly. And later Wolfwood says, he looked at me as if he had killed the kid.
Yeah, the trigger.
And he's like, don't look at me like that. I'll take the blame. I'll do anything. But don't look at me like that. Be angry. Do something. Be normal.
I know. Isn't he threatening him with his cross gun?
He actually
He's
tries to
what is wrong with you?
He tries to get him to react.
Pressure him to
and
react.
He's like, it's
touching in a weird way.
It's part of what makes Vash such a emotionally impacting character, or impactful, sorry. But it's also a little bit toxic in that it can devolve into like self-loathing. Vash, for his flaws, you can't say that he does not love people with his entire being, literally. So yeah, I think that about covers some of the differences between Vash and Knives, and why Vash is a good guy and Knives is just not, even if he's right about some things. So there's just something wrong with how he's going about it, 100%.
Even if Knives is right, he's wrong.
There's a wrong way to do the right thing. A very, very wrong way. Alright, I think we've about reached our conclusion here. And my note about it says, why is Trigun so impactful? I.e., why is it so good or so moving? And which version is better and why? You want to start this one, Lyndon?
Oof, that's a lot.
Like, how has Trigun impacted you personally? I know you made a cosplay of it.
I know, yeah. That was fun. Yeah, the original TV show, it has a special place in my heart just because I think it was the first anime that I officially finished.
Oh, you finished it, yeah.
Yeah, and I really, really loved it. Just how funny it was, how you could interact with the characters, and obviously how it portrays lots of biblical aspects of it.
Allegories.
Allegories. Stuff like that. So, yeah, I really liked it. The pacing was really good. Like, much better than the Trigun and Stargaze.
Yeah, I think it's way too fast.
Yeah. Too fast, the new one, but yeah, if we're comparing the two, the first one's my pick for sure.
What's the main reason why the old one is better?
How could I put this in words?
What,
I'm trying to think of something.
Us a video or something?
No, I'm trying to think of something like deep, just like.
Well, I don't know if it has to be deep. It probably is, but.
Would you say it's fair to say that at least the majority of that TV show sums up to the message being forgiveness?
Try again?
Yeah, the original.
That's possible. Why do you think it sums that up?
Because a lot of the characters in the TV in the original, their story arcs end on a forgiveness note, in a way.
Do you mean like Wolfwood even?
Wolfwood more so, yeah.
Do you think he forgives Chapel or something?
Oh yeah, I think in that one scene is obviously asking for forgiveness.
He forgives him. I think he has to forgive himself. He's asking for his own forgiveness. I don't know if he's forgiving other people. He just realizes that he was wrong.
Yeah, no, I never said he was forgiving other people.
But he doesn't hate people anymore.
But he doesn't hate people anymore. He is repenting and is asking for forgiveness. And in that particular scene is one of my favorite scenes probably of all time.
Mine too, actually.
It's super impactful. So that scene probably in particular is a really good reason why I love it so much. It was really impactful in
So
my
without
life.
that scene, would you still think the old one is better? Probably.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So
But that scene,
again,
yeah.
it has to do with certain aspects. Like the new one, not nearly as funny. Again,
That's a
some of the
huge,
characters
yeah.
are just not even there. I know.
Million barrels.
Again, so yeah, I'd say the main reason why I like the old one better is that it just had more. That's what I would say.
I would almost say it has less, but that's a
Well,
good thing. It's a minimalist
I mean,
show.
it had more, as in, it had more of everything. The
It
new
had
one
more depth
is
and more characterization, but the new one is like crammed full of characters and things happening.
too much in another way. Yeah.
So it's too much. So when you have more, you almost have less of what actually matters sometimes. Overcrowded movies are a thing, or in this case, a series. But yeah, that's a pretty good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I almost you said you want to sum up the show saying that it's about forgiveness. I almost want to say it's about
At least Wolfwood's storyline.
Yeah, you could say that. I would almost sum up Trigun in being about redemption, or maybe what Vash says. Vash says this world is made of love and peace, and it's like this cheesy one-liner that everyone's like, "Oh, brother," and
No,
yet
it hits hard.
it's not. He's right. Like he goes to insane, inhuman lengths to live at peace with everyone, and I mean everyone.
Yeah, no, you're right. I would probably sum it up like you're saying.
And why? Because he loves everyone. So love and peace is Vash. Like if Vash is anything, he's love and peace. You know how they say that God is love.
Yeah.
Vash is love and peace. Because he's a pacifist to a fault, and he loves people to his own detriment.
Okay, there. That's probably another reason why I love just Trigun as like a storyline is because it portrays that so well in a character and in a new way.
I think it would be really easy to depict someone like that in a laughable way that you couldn't take seriously, and yet somehow you do. Vash is a character who is really hard not to love. If an edgelord like Wolfwood can even love him and admit he's infectious, then I mean that's a pretty good example of why it's so hard to ignore. Like it's so shocking, but even if you don't agree with him or something, or if you think that's ridiculous, it sticks with you. You can't forget it. It's unforgettable the way Vash treats people. It's just not the way people usually treat each other.
Absolutely.
And you could say it's dumb. You could say it's foolish. But I think God's love looks foolish to humans anyway.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be foolish, and yet it's not the kind of foolishness you dismiss. You can't look away from it. There's something so beautiful about it. So, for me, how Trigun has impacted me is maybe similar to you. I think I watched it, and I first watched Stampede actually, and I thought it was really fascinating, but I didn't love it until I watched the old one, and then the whole thing started making more sense to me, especially as an allegory. And just, again, talking a bit more about Vash as a character, it really gets me every time because I don't think you see that too often to that level. I think you do sometimes in anime, like I think Tanjiro in Demon Slayer is a bit like this, like kind to fault in a very beautiful way, like where he like prays for the monster that just tried to kill him. Although the huge difference is that Tanjiro actually does kill people, or demons anyway. But demons used to be people in Demon Slayer.
Come on, Knives is practically a demon.
Yeah, Tanjiro would kill Knives, but Vash won't. Another character who's a bit like that is Shy in the Shy series. It's actually not about. The name is weird because that's her superhero name for some reason. But just having, like, almost like fighting the bad guys with love. It's something that seems like it would never work and is really stupid, and yet in these stories it actually is amazing to watch. It is so moving, and if you're not rooting for that person, it's like you don't have a heart, because they're so wonderful. They're wonderful people, and they're not wimps either. Like there's a backbone to what they're saying. They're not just being all wishy-washy like, oh, love and peace is great. No, they can back that up with their whole lives, with who they are, and with their actions, to the point where, yeah, they'll take it. They'll take the worst beating imaginable and then still be able to say something kind about the person inflicting the beating. Another thing I wanted to say about Vash is that he is often accused of forcing his ideals onto other people in the show. But I think this is not true. Like, Wolfwood accuses him of this. I think maybe Knives accuses him of this. But people are always like, oh, spare me your shiny ideals and whatnot. I think Vash pleads with people. But he never forces them to do what he would do. He does not force them physically. He implores them to do things differently. A couple of examples, in the old series in particular, there was that episode where this woman goes to, I think she goes to kill, it turns out her father was a bad person, and she was gonna kill him for what he did.
I remember that.
Or actually, she was gonna kill the guy who was like his advisor or something, like the sheriff. She was gonna kill him, and Vash just looks at her, and he doesn't tell her not to do it, or maybe he does, but I don't think he tells her not to do it. No, but he looks at her, and then she goes to pull the trigger, and she does, but she shoots to maim him instead. And I think she did that because Vash had that impact on her. But that was her own choice. And there's another episode where this father, and I mean, I do not blame him at all, but he goes to extreme lengths by like working with a gang or with bandits to...
Oh, I remember this episode.
On the sand steamer to like kill the guy so that he could get close enough to the guy who killed his daughter. And so that he could make him pay with his life. But when Vash sees what this guy's going to do, he begs the guy not to do it. But then he listens to why this guy wants to kill him. And, of course, like, that's a horrible story. Like, it makes perfect sense why he wants to kill him. So Vash doesn't go over there and force the gun out of his hand. Vash prostrates himself on his hands and knees saying, like, I'm begging you, don't do this. And the father, who is, like, so rightfully angry, all of a sudden feels like this isn't what his daughter would want, and he's like, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it?
Is this the episode where they're in that giant
sand steamer?
And then like Vash is singing like that song.
Total slaughter. I won't leave a single man alive. Now,
genocide.
La-di-da-di-di, genocide. La-di-da-di-da, an ocean of blood. It's such a ridiculous song. Now, even though Vash is the one singing it, he would never commit genocide, but he does play up the image that he has, because everyone thinks he's this crazy murderer, and sometimes he uses it to his advantage and pretends like he's about to shoot up the town just to clear the town for their own safety. So sometimes to hype things up, he will intimidate people just because he knows that they're already scared of him. But it's never actually to kill anyone.
Yeah. My memory serves me right. I knew it was on that episode.
I love that episode. It's so funny. And I love just being in the dark and singing that song and freaking everyone out.
Yeah, one of the guards on the episode, he's like, what is that song?
Awful lyrics.
It's awful lyrics. It sounds... Yeah, it's something.
I love the dialogue in the old Trigun.
So and another point, the banter in the background is so funny. Good.
There are background lines that you wouldn't even notice if you weren't paying attention that are super funny. Like, whose idea was it to plant a grenade? No. We can't turn him in for the reward if he's a pile of pulp, you dumbass. And that was in the background. And someone like brought the audio louder on like this edit I saw on YouTube. And I just to emphasize it, but I think I did remember that when I actually saw it. But I love all those. There are so many good lines in Trigun. If you go to this video on YouTube that's called 18 Minutes of Trigun being a quote-unquote quality anime. And now it does make fun of some of the animation errors in it, or some of the like awkward moments in the series, and it also shows some of the really funny dialogue, like almost all of it, in that video, and you'll see why Trigun is so endearing to us, because it's so memorable and so easy to quote, and so, like, you could say a line from Trigun that you probably wouldn't find anywhere else, like, oh, I'm so glad you asked It's a long story, although it's kind of a short one. Like,
so good. Who says
Wolfwood.
that again? Wolfwood. I knew it. I knew it was Wolfwood. Doesn't he say that on that like
he's working
Buster
in a
Inn or something?
He was
It's just
working
like-
in a restaurant
Oh,
on that part
no, you're
actually.
right.
But yeah, the part where Vash recites his whole name, and I am not going to remember it, but like VASH, I guess, stands for something. You can look up Vash's full name, and you'll find Johnny Young Bosch's voice actor just
Go
saying the
ham.
whole thing. It's pretty funny, and there's nothing quite like it. But another thing I wanted to say about Vash is that, yeah, I think we talked about how Vash basically has no thought for himself. In Stampede, he screams, "I don't care what happens to me. Like, if people hurt me, if they fight me, and I'll just keep running. But I'll always come back. I'll always come back to them." And in the old one, with that little girl, Lena, or that, I don't know, teenage girl, who was disguised as a boy, kind of, to protect herself, there were some guys who were, like, trying to assault her. And Vash comes out and he pleads with them to leave her alone, and they're like, "Here, how about we'll leave her alone if you strip naked and act like a dog." And they say that because they're like, no one in their right mind would do that, and he does without a second thought. And everyone is like, "Don't do this. Like, don't do this to yourself." And it doesn't work because they just shoot him anyway. And then Vash has to get medical attention, although thankfully bullets don't usually kill him. Yeah, throughout the series.
Bullets don't usually kill.
Okay, I guess that line didn't make sense. I screwed up there. But would you say, if you were getting tortured, like actually, would you think it's an appropriate time to start talking about how people can change and how people can change for the better and how good people can actually be? That's not really a moment where you would be thinking about that.
No.
And yet that's what Vash does, and this is actually in the new one. Knives actually has Legato contorting Vash's body in horrible ways and like breaking all his bones. And while he's doing that, Vash starts talking like, people will surprise you. And they can grow. And Knives is like, all this is irrelevant because of how long that would take, even if that was true. And meanwhile, we're all being abused here, and la da la da da. And Vash is saying, no, okay, so the cycle of violence can only be named by those who have felt it, who have felt the pain. So that's you and me. He says, but do we continue the cycle or do we change? Because if you continue the cycle, you're just letting Tesla's death be another horrible act in that cycle. Or do you want to use that as a catalyst for change? And of course, Knives is like, you're still as stupid as ever, screw you, and turns away. But watching Vash like being contorted and twisted and breaking, and then with the most serious and genuine expression on his face saying like, people will surprise you. It's
powerful stuff.
Rare to see something like that, and it's pretty gut-wrenching and beautiful. So as for why, and yes, I agree with you, the old one is better. As for why I think it's better, I think it's a lot of things, including the tone difference. Like, I don't think it being super edgy and
The vibe
dark
is different. The vibe
necessarily needs to be the case. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I like Trigun when it's, like, kind of more lighthearted, and then the dark stuff happens, and it's more shocking instead of just dark stuff happening all the time. Like, I don't know if we need that, because then it's not really building up to it, it's just always there, and then it's kind of depressing. And it's less shocking. The shock kind of wears off. I know my husband actually said he thought Trigun Stampede was too sad, and he wouldn't watch it again. But he thought the old Trigun was really good, and he would watch that again. So, and he actually said that Stampede was good. It was just too heartbreaking. Like watching, Vash like scream in that memory of him and Rem and stuff. But he was like, oh, I can't. This is
heck no.
Yeah, this is a bit too much. Like, this is everything just feels hopeless. Yeah, the tone, the characters, again. You can't really have Trigun without Marilyn Millie, I think, or it's not the same, not even close. And then just everyone is more funny. The characters are more endearing in the old one, and which is why I think I will take that DVD set and rewatch it until I'm 100, because It is super, super good. I think Stampede has some good things going for it. It has some really good scenes like the one I mentioned, and Vash is still Vash. I think the biggest thing it has going for it is the action scenes are phenomenal in the new one.
Stunning.
I don't want to say they put the old one to shame because the old one is still good, but it doesn't have the technology to really compete with the depth and the really cool shots that are in the new one. And also, Knives is much more fleshed out in the new one. I still like him in the old one, but he's barely in it in comparison to the new one. So I almost wish you could like combine some of those things, but I still say the old one is better at the end of the day.
Valid.
Yeah, and it seems like that's usually the pattern we're going on this show is like the book is better or the original is better, but who knows, maybe we'll find something.
We'll find one in the future that's
better. We'll find
I'm
something
sure.
where the newer one is better in the future because I believe in inequality. No. That sounded so cringe. Anyways, I was going to attempt to do an outro this time. For the Tail Trail podcast, we actually have a YouTube channel. I think it's the Tail Trail _podcast.
Yeah, it's at Tail Trail _podcast.
No, at Tail Trail _podcast. And we also have a Discord server, which is slowly growing, and it's a place where you can submit ideas, or you can talk about the episode, or you can talk about anything really. Mostly people who are movie nerds and stuff like that on there. It's called the Tail Trail server, and I should be able to give you an invite. The link is in the YouTube description. And you can also follow me at Sharose49, that's SHAROSE 49 on Instagram, because that is my Instagram account, which I use to promote all my work. And since I don't post enough, I thought it would be better to just post the Tail Trail podcast stuff onto that page to give me an excuse to post more. Because if I just had a page only for promoting the Tail Trail podcast, I probably would hardly ever upload anything to it. So yeah, so those are the places you can go to find us elsewhere. But in the meantime, yeah, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, except for iHeartRadio. I didn't like that one, but you have to make an account. And there's ads that I didn't like. Anyways, that about does it for this episode. We finally wrapped up the Trigun discussion. It only took forever.
Yeah, let's go.
But until next time, you want to say it, Lyndon? This world is made. Repeat after me. This world is made.
I'll say. This world is made of love and
peace. Cheers.